sun, the sun in my skin glowing. The sun, the sun in my skin glowing. The sun, the sun in my skin glowing. My skin.
Hi everyone, I'm Louise, and you're listening to CHMA, Voice of the Marshes.
The time is 9 o'clock and you're listening to CHMA.
And now it's time for your CHMA News. We're broadcasting from Sackville, New Brunswick, the heart of the Maritimes and the traditional and unceded lands of the Mi'kmaq people. Coming up in the next 15 minutes, we'll have your local news, Atlantic update, weather, sports update, and some community announcements.
I'm Mike Robar, and this is your local CHMA News. Coming up today, Municipality of Tantramar staff provided a small update on the Tantramar Memorial Civic Center elevator at Monday's Committee of the Whole meeting. But first, as of April 1st, vehicle registration stickers will no longer be required in New Brunswick, though drivers still need to renew their registration annually. This comes following the adoption of legislative amendments to the Motor Vehicle Act and related regulations, said a release from the Government of New Brunswick. Part of efforts to modernize and improve the efficiency of services, the change applies to all vehicles, including passenger, commercial, and off-road. Those looking to renew their registration can do so online, in person, or by calling teleservices at 1-888-762-8600. Those renewing online can also now print their registration certificate immediately or choose to have it mailed. Renewal reminders will continue to be offered by mail, email, or text message. And law enforcement will continue to verify registration status electronically. Customers who have valid stickers on their license plates do not need to remove them, but no new stickers will be issued after April 1st. And now, your feature story. The Municipality of Tantramar is working with Catalyst Consulting Engineers to finalize a tender for a fully accessible elevator in the Tantramar Memorial Civic Center. The company completed a site visit on January 28th for a Class D estimate, a class of estimate provided early in the design stages of a project, and once the tender is complete, the town will put out a request for qualified interested suppliers to submit bids council will then have to vote on. Jamie Ferguson, manager of Active Living and Culture, presented a timeline of staff's efforts to procure the elevator during a presentation to council, updating them on the progress of accessibility updates recommended in an audit by Ability New Brunswick.
So the audit from 2023 noted that there was not currently an elevator in the Civic Center, but it was not a recommendation or requirement from that report at that time. Okay. However, as we mentioned, we are committed to seeing that through and having it installed at the Civic Center to increase accessibility for all patrons at the rink.
Starting in the fall of last year, staff with the municipality contacted several companies, but only heard back from two, Otis Elevator and TK Elevators. In October, they sent building drawings to TK Elevators, and Otis Elevator had a site visit in November. Beale and Inch also visited the site that month. In February of this year, Matt Pride, Director of Active Living and Culture, told council during a committee of the whole meeting that an engineering firm had provided an estimate of around $750,000. At the preceding council meeting on February 10th, resident Megan Hicks presented to council that she had contacted a contractor of her own, who estimated the project could be completed for between $50,000 and $300,000. At that meeting, council voted unanimously to put the project to tender, and the next day staff contacted Henkel Elevator Services from PEI to discuss Hicks's quote. No other updates about the elevator were provided in the presentation, though Ferguson provided a list of 13 other recommendations brought forth by the audit that have since been addressed or committed to. Smaller items include better washroom signage along the bleachers for $3,986 and reverse swing doors between the mezzanine and the bleachers for $2,104. As well as larger projects like the installation of push-button door openers for every washroom as well as the player's entrance for $17,940. Items committed to but not complete include the installation of a non-slip grading at the Zamboni ice access area, as well as a rubberized non-slip surface at the player's entrance and replacing the men's washroom partition and door. Altogether, Ferguson said the upgrades totaled $148,739. However, Councillor Barry Hicks disagreed with that total, as it included 200 seats ordered through the Civic Center's seating campaign.
I see the total of $148,739. I do not agree with adding that $67,990 in, as that was paid by the constituents of Sackville and the Tantramar region. So actually we've only spent a little over $80,000 on that Civic Center so far. So I'd like to see the true figure there instead of the $67,900.
While only 13 items were detailed to council, the audit contained 284 recommendations, said Ferguson.
It's important to note that Ability New Brunswick made it clear that not all recommendations are possible for every facility, and the audit is a guideline rather than a list of requirements. We continue to pursue and implement improvements related to the recommendations as our budgets, initiatives, and opportunities are available. Throughout 2024 to 2026,
Ability New Brunswick is set to speak to council at the regular council meeting on June 9th for the newly elected council to hear. As always, head to chmafm.com to follow this and other stories from your community. And if you have any news, tips, or ideas, email news@chmafm.com. I'm Mike Robar with your local CHMA news from Tantramar.
Hi, I'm Pam from Being a Blossom, and you're listening to CHMA.
And here is your... Whoa, let's see. I'm just going to hold on to the weather there for a second. We'll get on up. There's a lot of buttons and knobs here. Anyway, we're sorry about that. Caught off guard. We're going to get you your Atlantic update in just 1 second. It's for April the 2nd. Cabinet Minister Dominique LeBlanc has released more details about the $1 billion in funding for CFB Gagetown. The Prime Minister announced last week. The work will see the recapitalization of the base's range and training area at a cost of $871 million. New air defense infrastructure will cost $172 million. A new $20 million building will also be built to centralize transition services for members of the forces moving back to duty or to civilian life. And as Mike just mentioned a little while ago, vehicles in New Brunswick no longer require registration stickers. That's after changes to the province's Motor Vehicle Act were proposed last year. Drivers will still be required to renew their registration on an annual basis. New Brunswick joins the majority of provinces and territories by removing the stickers. And we got one here. Just give me 1 second, because I think we'll say, it's about the Atlantic storms, which are over. But the executive director of the Dartmouth Seniors Service Center says frequent storms have interrupted its Meals on Wheels program. Sue Nesto says she has shut down the entire center and the meal program too many times this winter. She says it breaks her heart to have to cancel deliveries, but her volunteers are seniors who can't be trudging through the deep snow. Atlantic Canada has been pounded by frequent storms this winter, and schools were closed again yesterday amid a deluge of snow, freezing rain, and ice pellets. And a missing Newfoundland man has been found dead. Police say they found the 88-year-old from Cape St. George near Stephenville with local ground search and rescue on Wednesday. The man had been reported missing earlier in the day. Police say they're not sharing any additional details to respect the privacy of the man and his family. And the Charlottetown Farmers Market Cooperative has put rebuilding parts on hold after a fire 3 months ago. President Travis Kumiski says the market's Belvedere Avenue building is on land owned by the federal government. It hasn't had a lease in place for almost 4 decades. The market wants to expand, but is putting any plans on hold until the property situation is ironed out. And finally, a man is under arrest after going to sleep during a break and enter. RCMP say they were called to a home in Stephenville around 9 a.m. on Monday. The caller reported a break and enter and an unknown man having a snooze in the bed at the Gillis Drive home. The suspect was arrested and released on conditions ahead of court date. And that is your CHMA Atlantic update for Thursday, April the 2nd. Here is Enver with your weather.
Special weather statement in effect for Moncton and southeast New Brunswick. Prolonged period of snow, ice pellets or freezing rain possible on Friday. Precipitation will begin as snow or ice pellets Friday morning before transitioning to ice pellets and freezing rain, and then rain over southern and central New Brunswick Friday afternoon. The highest snowfall accumulations are expected over northern New Brunswick. Snowfall warnings are now in effect for most of northern New Brunswick. Please continue to monitor alerts and forecasts issued by Environment Canada. To report severe weather, send an email to nbstorm@ec.gc.ca or post reports on X using hashtag NBStorm. And now the weather. Today, cloudy, clearing earlier this afternoon, wind becoming northeast 20 kilometers an hour earlier this morning. High of +2, wind chill -8 earlier this morning. UV index 3 or moderate. Tonight, clear. Increasing cloudiness after midnight. Wind up to 15 kilometers an hour. Low -5. Wind chill near -9. Tomorrow, Friday, April 3rd. Cloudy. Ice pellets beginning in the morning, then changing to rain late in the afternoon. Risk of freezing rain in the afternoon. Wind becoming southeast 20 kilometers an hour, gusting to 40 in the morning. High of +2. Wind chill -9 in the morning. UV index 1 or low. Friday night, showers, low of 0. Saturday, April 4th, rain, showers, or flurries, high of +1. Saturday night, periods of snow, low -4.
Well, Onver, I hope you're feeling better. Take care of yourself. I've already sent you a note. We can always jump in to do the weather, Onver, but yeah, thanks for doing that. Hope you're feeling better soon. Coming up next, we have the sports update from Brian Nielsen.
Hi, my name is Krista, and you're listening to CHMA.
And here's Brian Nielsen with your CHMA sports update.
For the 2026 World Cup has been slated. The field for the 2026 World Cup has been slated now and solidified. On Tuesday, Bosnia-Herzegovina defeats Italy in a shootout. This is the third consecutive World Cup miss for the Azzurri, the four-time champion. There was a 4-1 final on kicks. Sweden gets in, defeating Poland 3-2. Turkey over Kosovo 1-0. Chechnya over Denmark in a shootout, a 3-1 advantage on penalties. The Democratic Republic of the Congo defeats Jamaica 1-0, and Iraq eliminates Bolivia 2-1. This all, of course, means that Bosnia and Herzegovina will be in Group B, where they will be sharing that group with Canada, Qatar, and Switzerland. 3 games in both the men's and women's professional leagues last night on the ice. The Vancouver Canucks defeat the Colorado Avalanche 8-6. Los Angeles Kings defeat the St. Louis Blues in overtime 2-1. And it was the San Jose Sharks coming back late in the third period with 2 goals in under a minute and a half. They defeat the Anaheim Ducks 4-3 final there. And the 3 women's games saw the Toronto Scepters defeat the Ottawa Charge out in Calgary. The Montreal Victoire shut out the Vancouver Golden Knights at home 3-0. And the New York Sirens come back to force overtime and then get a victory against the visiting Minnesota Frost. NBA action, only about 6 games left for teams on the season. Toronto Raptors need every win they can get. Did not get one last night. They lose at home to the visiting Sacramento Kings. They are led by former Raptor Prince Achiuwa and DeMar DeRozan. 123-115 final there. Other action of note, the 76ers defeat the Washington Wizards 153-131. It was the Hawks by 29 over the Orlando Magic 130-101. Celtics beat the Heat by 22, 147-129. Knicks defeat the Grizzlies. Pacers defeat the Bulls. Rockets get by the Bucks 119-113. The Denver Chicken Nuggets, their victors on the road in Utah 130-117 final there. And finally, the upstart San Antonio Spurs, they defeat the Golden State Warriors 127-113 on the strength of Victor Wembanyama's double-double of 41 points and 18 rebounds. And finally, as the Major League Baseball keeps continuing to gear up, it was the Cleveland Guardians defeating the Los Angeles Dodgers 4-1. Royals with a 13-9 victory over the Minnesota Twins at home. Yankees defeat the Mariners 5-3 on the road. It was the Astros with a 6-4 W against the visiting Boston Red Sox. It took 10 innings, but the Toronto Blue Jays were not able to hold down the Colorado Rockies. They peak with a 2-1 victory at the Sky Dome. It was the Padres recording their second victory of the season, 7-1 victory over the Giants. Brewers moved to 5-1, sharing the best record in baseball with the New York Yankees. The Brewers defeat the Tampa Bay Rays 8-2. Took 10 innings for the Phillies to come back against the Nationals. 6-5 final there. Paul Skeens gets his first victory for the Pittsburgh Pirates. 8-3 final in Cincinnati. And finally, it was the Baltimore Orioles defeating the Texas Rangers 8-3 at home in the DMV.
And that was your CHMA sports update from Sports Hound Brian Nielsen. Thanks so much for doing all you do, Brian. And let's get into a couple community announcements now after the storm, big storm yesterday, which I don't know, was it as big? It was pretty icy out there. I was lucky enough to spend as much time next to a cozy fire as I could, and I felt very, very lucky to be able to do that. Not much on the Tantramar municipality socials. That's new since yesterday. They mentioned that, like a lot of folks, the delayed opening. The campus was delayed in opening. The municipality was delayed in opening. And a bunch of shops. Food bank closed yesterday, and that's all I can remember right now. I guess I'll just quickly go down through a few other things that they've noted. The registration for the pups has passed, so you're paying $20 more, but please remember to do that. I don't think you get the bandana anymore either, but our pup, I was very looking forward to the bandana, but that is still a thing. Get your dog registered, and their newsletter came out. We could take a poke. Can we take a look through that? Let's do that. Let's look through the Tantramar newsletter right now, because I'm doing all right. I do have to be somewhere, but I can take the time to do that right now, because that is what I'm supposed to be doing. So we're going to look at the newsletter for April 2026 and take a quick stroll through it, if that's possible. A reminder to follow their new Active Living and Culture Facebook page. We followed it before. I haven't checked it out in a while because I haven't been on the radio in a while, but be sure to check that out. And Tantramar's Terrific Trees, honoring trees of ecological, cultural, and historical significance. I think that's a great idea. I'm really curious about this program because I love the trees in Tantramar. One of the reasons that I love being here is because of the trees, and it makes me sad when I see the trees coming down, but it also makes me happy when I see the trees growing up. So I'm a big tree fan, and they're doing a submit a nomination using the online form, Tantramar's Terrific Trees nomination form. It's a program that captures and honors notable trees or groups of trees across the municipality and shares them with residents and visitors. I think that's a great idea. It's almost if they were like scanning my brain and got an idea in there, and I like that. I got a lot of favorite trees around. Nominated trees will meet the program requirements, will be recognized on the municipal website and added to an interactive map with information and photos. So you can visit tantramarnb.com to do that. I think that is a beautiful thing, and I'm really happy they're doing that. Upcoming important dates: regular council meeting Tuesday, April the 14th, and final day to submit nominations for the municipal election is April 10th, and that's at 2 p.m., not at 5 p.m. So if you're one of those people that think the deadlines are always at 5 p.m., not on April 10th, not if you're trying to put in a nomination for a municipal election. It's at 2. So think about it as lunchtime. They also got a director of protective services that they're hiring right now. And a whole bunch of other things, but I think that's the meat and bones of it for now, if you don't mind. We're going to move along at 9:22 in the morning. I hope you've had your fill of being informed and entertained, and well, that's the informed part. The entertained part is coming up next when I get some music rolling up for you. And let's just get in a couple of local announcements from the staff here at CHMA, as we normally do, because I'm a fan of doing the same, and get the sports outro going. Then I'll be right back, and I'll have some Jason Painter with Jenny Please and some Jose Gonzalez with a track that I'll let you know as soon as we come back. Keep you guessing.
Hey, this is Linda Michaud from Weldon Street, and you're listening to CHMA.
Seniors, students, newcomers, and community members are all welcome at a neurodivergent affirming coffee hour every Wednesday, downtown Sackville at 110 Main Street. That's the Sackville United Church from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Join the crew from Open Sky Cooperative in coffee and conversation. Don't forget the free snacks. Everybody loves free snacks. See you there.
And that was your CHMA News. Please visit www.chmafm.com for more news and to sign up for our email newsletter. Funding is provided by our monthly sustainers, the Community Radio Fund of Canada, and the Municipality of Tantramar's Community Development Grant. If you have a story idea or would like to include an announcement, please write us at news@chmafm.com.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Are you feeling stuck in your current music rotation?
Feel like you're searching for something new and don't know where to start?
Let us set you up. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Christina.
And we're the hosts of Blind Date on CHMA, where you meet a new album and we pay the bill.
Every Friday, we take turns picking albums for the other person to ultimately see if it's love at first listen.
Join us for all the fun every Friday night at 8 p.m., only on 106.9 FM, the voice of the Marshes.
Amazing. That is from Christina and Hannah, who Mount Allison graduates a couple of years ago and stuck with doing the radio. They do the radio both on CHMA and CHMR, coming out of MUN Memorial University of Newfoundland in St. John's. And I don't know if you've been listening this morning, but Brian caught me. I was doing my little 8:30 intro, and I said, "You're listening to CHMR, not CHMA." And that's not because I'm a secret agent doing double duty and just forgot my place. It's because I've been reading a lot about CHMR in the past couple of days, and it's been on my mind because as of yesterday, the student union at Memorial University voted to defund their campus radio station. And that was after a huge outpouring of support that I was almost brought to tears to see how many people in the community came out and across Canada to support CHMR and try to get across to the student union how incredibly important that station was for the past 50 years. But in all the same, they still went ahead and they defunded it. That vote did go to defund the station. Now, that is just simply to defund the station. Doesn't mean the station couldn't continue to run, but I guess there's a lot tied up into that as to who owns the license and all those kinds of things. And just to mention that all campus stations have a different way of structure, how they're structured. And in CHMR's case, the employees of CHMR were direct employees of the student union. And so the facility costs were directly on the student union's budget. Whereas here at CHMA, we are an independent organization, nonprofit, that simply receive the student fees as approved from the Student Administrative Council, not related to the student union. Two different things. So, and that changes from university to university because a lot of the stations came out of the 70s and they all developed in their own different ways because everyone has their own various ecosystems and ideas and people that run them and how they do things. But it is painfully sad news to see that even just to see the student union vote to defund it, not necessarily relating to the future of CHMR, but just to see that. And also it's been noted through the student newspaper at Memorial University that the decision from the student union came from a sampling of 85 students. That's 13% of 85 students voted, had mentioned in the survey that they were not familiar with CHMR, and then that was the statistic that was used to inform. Only 13% had value for CHMR, and the others from the 85% did not. 85 students. So it wasn't a big sample rate, and I think there's about 20,000 students at Memorial these days. So hopefully in the near future there'll be some more good news for CHMR. Where there's a will, there's a way. There are things that can be done to help it continue. But reach out and give your support. If you're a fan of campus and community radio, CHMR in St. John's, Newfoundland could probably still use your support. My first interaction, because I'm from the Bay of Newfoundland. I am a Bay Bi, so I didn't get into the city too much, but my brother was at Memorial University straight out of high school, and I did go in to visit him a couple of times, and I'll have to say the first time that I saw a live DJ was at CHMR, and it was extremely inspiring because it was also the first time that I saw someone that could beat match with records and could do all the fancy hip-hop things with records that I'd never known were possible. But it was just very inspiring as well because the person that was doing these things was just someone from the community that was just doing a show. My brother had a show, his friends had a show, and just the idea that pretty much anyone could come in with some basic training and be on air and have their voices heard was pretty inspiring to a 9-year-old Newfoundlander from the Bay. So I would like to credit CHMR for a lot of inspiration and empowerment that I don't think I would have had otherwise. It was a very slight moment. I think I was only in there for 40 minutes to an hour, but just seeing all the records, but mostly just seeing that it was very accessible. That's what drove it home for me. And, we're still doing that here today. CHMA, very accessible. Yeah, come get a show, have your voice heard, have your music played, and get on the air because it's a blessing to have this, and we're very lucky to. And we have a long list of wonderful people that help keep it alive. And we'll be doing our summer call soon. So if you've been thinking about it, having voices on the air is the best way